I'll talk to you.
Okay. Hey, Filipino boxing fans, here with Ronnie Shields, one of the best trainers in the game. First and foremost, before we get into this matchup, what are your thoughts on Canelo losing against Dimitri Bivol this past Saturday night?
Well, I thought Bivol fought a great fight. He fought the fight that he wanted to fight. He didn't deviate from what he was doing. He did what he was supposed to do, and I had it a wider decision than the judges had it, like a lot of other people did. But the most important thing is he was able to come out with the win.
Were you really surprised that were you surprised that Canelo was not able to adjust 3-4 rounds into the fight and kind of like
Well, Bivol is a difficult opponent, so whatever he did, Bivol did the opposite. And I think that's probably since Floyd Mayweather he's never had that done to him before like that. So he didn't know how to handle it. He couldn't make the adjustments, but that's one thing. It happens in the sport.
Now, do you think what makes sense, for Canelo to get a rematch at 175 or actually pull Bivol, down to 168? Says that's an option as well.
I don't think Bivol would go down to 168. He'd be crazy to do that. Number one, he's the light heavyweight champion. Why would he want to go down? I think it's a big mistake for Canelo to fight a rematch with him. But I don't think it's going to help his career. I think Bivol has his number.
One fight that fight fans have been clamoring for is Jermall Charlo against Canelo. At 160, now possibly 168. Do you think now that Canelo maybe might go down to 168, that'll be a natural matchup for Jermall?
Absolutely. Look, it should have been happening this past fight. That should have been the fight. But he wants to keep striving for greatness. People understand that. Can't blame him. But I think right now he ought to fight Jermall Charlo.
Jermall Charlo does have a fight lined up June 19th, back home in Houston against Selecki. How do you rate the Polish fighter?
Oh, I rate him pretty high. I mean, look, he's ranked number 6 in the world in the WBC as a middleweight. He's fought some of the best fighters in the world, Demetrius Andre, Danny Jacobs, and a slew of other guys. So, what can you say? He's a good fighter.
Now, obviously, fight fans, want to see, Jermall take on any of the champions at 160. If you cannot get that Canelo,
offers was made to Canelo, offers was made to Jaime Munguia, offers was made to Triple G. I mean, what you want Jermall to do is the offers are turned down.
Yeah, there's one offer that fight fans do want to see is him against David Benavidez. Obviously, he's not a champion right now. He could be the interim champion, but does that fight, make sense?
It doesn't make sense. I mean, look, this guy was a super middleweight champion, lost his belt on the scale. I mean, whose fault is that? If he was a champion, of course, it would have been a great fight. But what does Jermall get out of it right now? It got to make business sense.
Yeah, so what do you make from from their side saying they were willing to even go down to maybe 160 to make that fight happen?
It's a goddamn lie. That's what it is. If you want to come down to 160, let him come down to 160.
Lastly, Coach, obviously you have a lot of great talent. Tristan is one of those kids, who's working with you down in your gym. You always speak highly of him. What's next for the young fella?
I mean, I really don't know. I wasn't at the last fight because I had another fight in Vegas.
My apologies.
But look, Tristan, he's moved up to heavyweight now. So, we'll have to see what happens. He got to get stronger, obviously. And, but this kid, he's a young kid. He can really fight. And, you got to pick and choose what they do with him because he's so young right now.
Lastly, Coach, the heavyweight division is stacked with talent. Someone that obviously we know you work with some of the best heavyweights in the past. How would you rate the heavyweight division now with possibly maybe Tyson Fury walking away?
Well, I think right now the heavyweight division is really good. There's a lot of competition there. I'm training Philip Herkovic now, so we're looking to do big things. He's fighting on the undercard of Joshua and Usyk, in his eliminator. And against the Chinese guy, Zio. And, we get ready to start doing some good work and, win that. Hopefully he can fight the winner of Usyk and Joshua.
How do you see that rematch taking place? Because, Anthony Joshua was able to, adjust and beat, and out of shape Andy Ruiz, just the way it was. But right. Do you think he can make any adjustments that could actually make him successful?
Of course he could make some adjustments. You could see a lot of adjustments that he could make if you looked at the first fight. And I think he will make those adjustments. Anthony is a really, really good fighter. And, Usyk is definitely not a bad fighter.
Yeah, what do you think he could do differently? You know, use the jab a little different, his
Well,
height, his weight.
He impose his will on him.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't do that last time. He sat back and tried to box. Definitely the wrong strategy. I think once he realizes that he's the bigger, stronger man, you know, I think he's going to get in there, and that's what he needs to do. You know, put the pressure and make Usyk respect everything he's doing.
Thank you, Mr. Ronnie, for the time, like always.
No
I appreciate
problem.
it.